And good morning, friends. Welcome to the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number. Try to call in early so we can get to as many calls as possible. 844-236-6010. If you have comments or success stories you'd like to share, or if you have questions about nutrition, health, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we're here for you. 844-236-6010. Edward Carswell will be with us in our third segment. Edward is a preparedness expert. He's got a YouTube channel called Prepper Nurse 1, and I've been watching it now for the last few days. Very interesting stuff, and Edward's been doing this pre-2012. We've got lots of YouTube videos, lots of information, and I guess you'd say he's an experienced survivalist, although he calls himself a prepper. Not really sure what the difference between a survivalist and a prepper is. He's going to talk to us about reasons why we should be prepared and how we can be prepared from disaster in our third segment, and we'll get your calls in our second segment, 844-236-6010. You can purchase longevity products from brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the website join the team off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. And you can check out our 1,000 plus 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com, truthreviewed.com. All right, Edward Carswell at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls in our second segment, 844-236-6010. We've been talking about fats. First of all, we've been talking about the distinction of fats. There's a lot of power when you start to make distinctions in things, especially in chemistry. By distinguishing nutrients as fatty or watery, you can leverage their power much more effectively, and you can understand how they work. Fats are involved in sustained kind of chemical reactions, sustained health issues, growth, repair, stress management. Water-soluble nutrients, on the other hand, are more for quick-acting biochemistry. The biochemistry of running, the biochemistry of the heartbeat, the biochemistry of nerve conduction. These all are, and this is, by the way, a very broad generalization. There's lots of overlap here, but generally speaking, when something's watery, it's going to be in and out quickly. When something's fatty, it's going to stick around. That's why your oil doesn't come out of your shirt. If you ever spilled, I guess, speaking from experience here, a couple of weeks ago I spilled some vegetable juice on a white shirt, and figured I'd just take it to the dry cleaners, and they get it out. By the way, dry cleaners use solvents that are specific for removing oils and removing fats. So I just took it to the dry cleaner, figured we'd get it out. No, it's not coming out. I got a big old yellow stain on my beautiful white shirt. From the carotenoids. The carotenoids are pigments, and they don't come out. They're fatty. They don't come out of your food like they don't come out of your shirt when it's dirty. And this is one of the reasons why, as we get older, our skin becomes much more sensitive. Why, as we get older, our skin becomes more susceptible to damage. As we get older, we get more wrinkles and we get more dark spots. A lot of this has to do with the fact that our ability to extract fats, which is difficult to begin with at any age, as we get older, it becomes much more difficult. And if you understand this, you can see why it's important, number one, to start supplementing with fatty nutrients so you get them into the system. Vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin K, phytonutrients, and essential fatty acids, of course. Now, vitamin D is a little tricky, by the way, because probably the best way to get your vitamin D is not supplementing. Leave that aside for now. And then secondly, helping your body extract fatty nutrients from foods. Help your body extract the pigments, extract the fatty vitamins, extract the essential fatty acids. And you do that by putting butter on your veggies. You do that by slightly steaming. You do that by using digestive enzymes and bile salts and lecithin, and you do that by keeping your organs, and especially your gallbladder. Now, when it comes to the skin, and I've been studying the skin for many years, there's a major connection between skin health and these fats. Major. I would venture to say almost all cases of eczema/atopic dermatitis involve this system. I don't know about, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say all, but I'm going to say a lot. The vast majority of them, the vast majority of skin issues, of eczematic skin issues, sensitive skin, psoriasis probably too. Inflammatory issues of all kinds. The vast majority of skin inflammation issues are about the fat absorption system, either in terms of deficiencies or in terms of absorption, extracting, we'll say. From the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, lack of Omega-6 fatty acid linked to severe dermatitis. University of Illinois scientists have learned that a specific omega-6 fatty acid may be critical to maintaining skin health. Well, I didn't have to read that. I just knew that from experience and from biochemistry. There's some omega-6 fatty acid, by the way, is called arachidonic acid. You may have heard of arachidonic acid. If you ever read any of Barry Sears' books, The Anti-Aging Zone or The Zone, the guy with the Zone diet, I don't know. It's funny because that was like, I can't even believe it, but it was about 30 years ago that the Zone was really big. So if you're in your 20s or even if you're in your 30s, you may not even have heard of the Zone and the Zone diet. But back in the 90s, that thing was the bomb. That was one of the first big-time diets that had some scientific backing behind it and that hit the mainstream. And I say some because Barry Sears made some mistakes there. But nonetheless, omega-6 fatty acid, he was one of the first guys to talk about the importance of omega-6 fatty acids and the relevance of arachidonic acid. Now, interestingly, omega-6 and arachidonic acid is found in things like milk and meat and eggs. It got a lot of bad press, as omega-6 sometimes gets a lot of bad press, because omega-6 and arachidonic acid are said to be pro-inflammatory. They're part of the inflammatory pathways. They're key players in the inflammatory pathway. And so a lot of people, not a lot of people, but back in the day, in the 1990s, they were thinking, well, we should avoid omega-6, and Barry Sears actually talks about this, avoiding omega-6 and avoiding arachidonic acid, or at least minimizing it, not avoiding it totally, but minimizing how much you eat, staying away from eggs, staying away from organ meat, staying away from dairy. Why? Because it's pro-inflammatory. But what they miss is that in the body, inflammation is not a bad thing. It's the excess inflammation that's a problem. And without inflammation, you don't get healing. So just by avoiding the mediators, the chemicals that are involved, the molecules that are involved in inflammation as a health strategy is not overly bright, because you need these things. In fact, arachidonic deficiency is associated with dermatitis. Why? Because the skin can't heal. There's more omega-6s in the skin than omega-3s. Omega-3s, there's not a lot of omega, relatively speaking, there's way more omega-6 in the body than omega-3. But you still hear well-meaning, but not nutritionally savvy dietitians and health professionals and nutritionists saying, stay away from omega-6s, you don't need omega-6s, you get a lot of omega-6s. None of that's true. You don't want to stay away from it. You need it. And we don't get a lot of it. Why? And by the way, I'm talking about omega-6 essential fatty acids here. Why? Because they break down quickly. So you need a balance. You need omega-6 and you need omega-3. If you're dealing with dermatitis, i.e. eczema, and by the way, the technical name for eczema is atopic dermatitis. I'll tell you what that means when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. Edward Carswell will be coming up in our third segment. We'll get to your calls next. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for being here. We've got Edward Carswell coming up at the bottom of the hour. Prepper Nurse 1, that's his website. That's his YouTube channel. That's also his website, I believe. And Edward is a preparedness expert. He talks to millions of folks via his YouTube channel. And we're going to talk about reasons why we should be prepared for disaster. Looks like exciting times are forward. I don't know if I would call it disaster. Maybe so. Maybe it's a disaster that awaits us. In any case, we'll talk to Edward Carswell in our third segment and get your calls. This segment, 844-236-6010. So I've been studying skin for a really long time, and people ask me about how do I have really great skin? What's the one thing I need to do for my skin? How do I take care of my eczema or my psoriasis, et cetera, et cetera? I always think in my head, and I always tell them, fats. F-A-T-S, fats. Now, it's not that easy. It's not that simple, because there's different kinds of fats. There's good fats, there's bad fats, there's important fats, there's less important fats, there's essential fats, there's non-essential fats. There's lots of distinctions in there. Remember, power comes in distinctions. So we got to understand all our distinctions. But generally speaking, it's about the fats when it comes to beauty and health of the skin. By the way, I did my moment of truth today on cocoa powder, or a cocoa extract for skin. Cocoa, like other veggies and fruits and botanicals, contains polyphenols, which are fatty. And these polyphenols are very important for skin health. As we get older, we don't extract the fats. So anything you could do to support your fats, fat absorption, fat intake, is going to anti-age you. The skin is like an icon for the rest of the body. It's like a symbol for the rest of the body. What's true about the skin is going to be true about the inside of the body, plus you could see the skins. Think of it like an icon on your desktop. The skin is like an icon for the inside of the body. And what's true about the skin is going to be true about the inside of the body. And by taking care of the skin nutritionally, you're going to take care of the inside of your body too. And by taking care of the inside of your body, you're going to take care of your skin. So before we went to break, I was telling you about atopic dermatitis. Eczema, which is, if you don't have eczema, you don't realize how unbelievably frustrating, painful, uncomfortable it is, and also embarrassing. There's a lot of psychological issues that go with eczema, not to mention the physical issues. It's a serious problem if you have it, especially if you're a kid. Well, if you're going to understand eczema, all you got to do and understand how to treat it, all you got to do is know what the medical term for eczema is. Eczema is a colloquial term. The medical term is atopic dermatitis. Dermatitis, what does that mean? Dermatitis, inflamed skin. The key is in the atopic part. Atopic. That means it's not topical. That means it's not on the skin. Yet we still have our 99% of people, when they go to the doctor, the dermatologist, to get their eczema treated, are going to get a topical answer, a topical solution, a steroid cream. But it's right there in the name, atopic dermatitis. Atopic means it's not topical. It means it comes from the inside. If something comes from the inside, it comes from the blood. Either something's in the blood or something that shouldn't be, or something isn't in the blood that should be. Period. Like everything else. Remember, the skin's an icon. Like everything else. Atopic dermatitis. You might as well call it atopic. All diseases atopic. Atopic dermatitis means it starts on the inside. It starts in the blood. You got to treat the blood. One of the most important things you could do is put the fats in, the correct fats in. And take out the bad stuff, mostly digestive, derived from the digestive system, from the intestine. Food. It's not complicated. It's very simple. Atopic dermatitis should begin to resolve almost instantly once you remove the offending agent and you include the correct nutrients, fatty ones, essential fatty acids. Lack of omega-6 from University of Illinois. Lack of omega-6 arachidonic fatty acid associated with severe dermatitis. When, quote, when arachidonic acid was added to the animal's diet, the itching went away. Unquote. Bingo. It's right there. I didn't need to read this. We learned this in pharmacy school. You take essential fatty acids out of the diet. You take fatty acids out of the diet. You get itchy. Period. Happens almost right away, within days. You put the fats back in, the itchy goes away. If you have a dog or a cat with a mangy coat or not a pretty coat or even a regular coat, crack an egg in his food. Watch his coat improve, or give him some fish oil or some Ultimate EFA capsule. Stick a pin in your Ultimate EFA capsule, squeeze the oil out. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. My buddy Kevin, Dos Vidonia. What's going on, Kevin?
You just said goodbye by mistake.
Oh, I did? Okay, sorry.
See, you told me about CM cream,
yeah,
or ointment.
Yeah.
Is that camphor menthol?
No. It's a fat. It's cetyl myristoyate.
Okay,
and it's a really fascinating fat. It's along the lines of the stuff I'm talking about here today. There's a lot of these little subfractions of fats that are anti-inflammatory, have pain-relieving properties. One called palmitoyl ethanolamide, which I haven't talked about, is along the same lines, and that's also very anti-pain and very anti-inflammatory. And of course, endocannabinoids are in the same family here. But no, I was telling you about the CM cream from Longevity, and it also has there's CM capsules also, and it stands for cetyl myristoyate, and they're shockingly anti-inflammatory. It's unbelievable, really.
I don't know if you knew, but they do have a Longevity here in Russia now.
I did not know. That's wonderful. And who's doing it?
I did look. I'm not sure, but I could find out for you.
Yeah, will you send me a note, Kevin?
Absolutely. And my second question is vitamins. Let's say BTT. When is the best time to take it? With the meal or without the meal?
Without the meal is my opinion. You get faster absorption without the meal.
Right.
And it's just general rule. As a general rule, if something's water soluble, you'll get faster absorption without a meal. If something's fat soluble, you get better absorption with a meal. General rule. There are differences in there.
Makes sense. Thanks
Okay.
for the info, Ben.
Thank you, Kevin. Hey, thanks for doing all that stuff with the YouTube. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's really cool.
No problem.
Helps a lot of folks.
Bye.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Kevin. That's Kevin from Moscow, and he does our YouTube videos or YouTube audios. And he does them every day. He's done them every day for years now, and they're all up on our Facebook page, by the way, The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben. All right, Rob in Ontario. Good morning. What's up, Rob? Rob?
Lately, you're doing fantastic.
Do I have Rob here?
Hello, Ben.
Hey, Rob, speak into the phone, man, or get me off speaker. I can barely hear you.
Okay, is this better?
Not much. Yell if you're not on a speaker. Get me off speaker or yell really loud.
Okay, I have to talk loud then.
Okay.
I'm on a smart device.
Okay, go ahead.
Medical bullying.
Medical what?
Medical bullying. How can we tell when we have a bad doctor?
You're in Canada, right? That's correct, right? Ontario?
I'm in Canada, yes.
Dude, it's awful in Canada. The medical bullying situation, at least in the United States, we have a tradition of independence and non-compliance and questioning authority. It doesn't always happen that way, but we have a sort of tradition of that. In Canada, the sheep effect is so deep and so huge in Canada. My
right.
Wonderful Canadian friends, and I love Canadians and I love Canada, but it's so tragic how you've been domesticated in Canada. It's horrific. It really is.
My mother was exterminated. They took her away. She died. She was killed within 30 days of being put into long-term care, which is basically nursing home here.
So this is kind of personal, probably. This is personal for you.
Yeah, she was denied
terrible.
nutrition. And the nutrition in the nursing homes is that.
Hey, Rob, listen. Rob, I'm out of time, but I'd love to hear your story. Can I get you to call back tomorrow?
Yes.
Try and call back tomorrow. I'd love to hear the story. It's absolutely it's so tragic what's going on in Canada. All right, Edward Carswell coming up in our next segment. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and we're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central, 24/7 on the archive page of brightsideben.com and benfuchsarchives.com. You can also purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And if you want to start a home-based business for a one-time $30 fee, you can be in business for yourself and help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. Click on the Join the Team link, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or call 866-735-2470. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin does not need or does not want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. Check out our 1,000 plus 5-star reviews at 4 and 5-star reviews at truthreview.com, truthreview.com. Okay, I am looking forward to speaking to our guest today. Edward Carswell's got a really cool website, Prepper Nurse One. Prepper Nurse One is the YouTube channel, and preppernurse1.com is his website. Edward is a preparedness expert, and we're going to talk about reasons why we should be prepared for a disaster. Welcome to The Bright Side, Edward Carswell. Hey, Edward. Can I call you Edward?
How are you? Thank you. Yes, Edward's fine. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for being here. And crazy times we're living in, huh?
That is for sure. I can honestly say in my lifetime I've never seen anything like what is going on now.
Now let me ask you this. You've been I know you got YouTube videos that go way back to pre-2012. And I imagine you probably were doing it before 2012 for a while before. You seem young. You seem like you're in your 30s or 40s. You look like you're in your 30s or 40s, which is a good thing.
Well,
I assume it's a good thing. You're not 20.
I'm 55.
Well, you look awesome, Edwards. That's great. I had no idea you were 55. But in any case, I imagine you've had these kinds of ideas rolling around in your head for a long time. Is this what you thought it would look like?
To be honest with you, my wake-up call for me personally was Hurricane Katrina back in 2005.
Got it.
And at the time, my children were I have twins, and they were 4 years old, and my stepson was 10 years old at the time. And with that whole situation that happened, it really woke me up to realize that we really need to rely on ourselves and not on the government or anybody else to take care of us. And so,
were you in the Gulf? Were you in the Gulf when it happened, or you just saw it?
No, actually, no. I was. I'm in New York, so I was here. But watching that whole thing unfold and how a lot of those people just completely suffered, it was a huge wake up call, and it really got me started on my journey. And 6 years ago, I moved completely off grid, and it has been a trial and error type of thing. And you learn, and I think that's the best way to do anything is to get out there and get your hands dirty and figure out what works and what doesn't work.
I like that. You're not in New York City, no doubt. You're probably upstate?
No, not at all. No, I'm in upstate New York. I actually live in the country where I am.
What town? What part?
Well, I'll give you the county. It's Livingston County. I won't say exactly what town it is. But,
you don't want to say what town. Got it. I understand.
Yeah,
I lived in Syracuse for many years. I know the area really well, upstate New York.
Okay, so Syracuse for me is a couple hours away.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's beautiful country out there, and it's definitely a good survivalist country. Although I would argue that New York City might be a good place to learn how to be a survivalist these days anyway.
That'd be a scary place to be.
Wouldn't it be scary?
In a post-event. In a post-event, it would be horrifying.
Yeah. All right. So your wake-up call was in 2005, I think, was Hurricane Katrina. Did you have any background in camping, or were you a hiker? Were you an outdoors guy? Were you a handyman? Did you have a skill set that would lend itself to survivalism or preparedness?
Well, actually, I didn't. I grew up on a farm as a kid, so I had that background, but. I'm a nurse by trade, so that's why prepper nurse one. So
got it. Are you an RN?
LPN.
LPN. Gotcha.
Yep. And so when I decided to make this move, skills-wise, I did not have a lot of skill set coming into this. I've learned a tremendous amount, as I've gone along, and I do a lot of hands-on stuff, So what I normally do. I have some great neighbors that I've met. My neighbor behind me he's a carpenter, and so he's been a fantastic asset to have. And we work together on all kinds of projects and stuff like that. And but again, it's like I think that's one of the things that I really want to push to people, and I've talked about this a lot on my website, is surrounding yourself with good people that you can trust and rely on. It's very, very important.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. What's the difference between preparedness and survival?
Well, preparedness is you're preparing for survival. Realistically, the thing with preparedness. Well,
survivalism, survivalism versus preparednessism is one. You're saying you're preparing to be a survivalist. How does that work? How do they connect?
Well, the connection is this: if something happens. You put yourself in a position that's going to give you the best chance to survive whatever's going to happen. That's what prepping is all about. It is being ready for whatever emergency comes down the road. And the funny thing is what people don't understand, an SHTF event, and anybody that wants to know what that means. Yeah. Well, I won't say the first word, but, hits the fan, and the first word is
F.
Okay?
Gotcha.
When that event happens for anybody, it doesn't necessarily have to be a major event. It could be something that happens to you personally, a death in the family, a sickness, whatever the case may be. You prepare. The reason you prepare is for the unexpected, and that's why we prep. We prepare for whatever is going to happen. We don't know what that's going to be. There's nothing that says it's definitely going to be this event, because otherwise everybody would do it. So, it's being prepared for whatever emergency comes down the road. Food, water, medical supplies, generators, gasoline, alternative power sources, all those type of things. There's a lot of it that goes into it. But I always tell people this. I have an acronym that I like to use, and it's funny because when you hear it, you're going to think one thing, but it means something totally different. My acronym is STD. So people think that they know what STD stands for, but what it actually stands for is step, thing, and day. And what I mean by that is it's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time.
Wow.
Whatever
awesome.
You're working towards, and the best part is that acronym can be used for whatever you're doing in your life. It doesn't have to be prepping. It doesn't have to be off-grid.
Yeah.
If you work methodically towards your goals, whatever they may be, you can achieve them if you follow that mantra. And the only person, and here's the best part of it, the best part is the only person that can stop you from achieving those goals is guess who?
Who? You. You're the only one. Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
I love it. You know, that's funny when you said that, because as you're talking, I'm thinking this could be applied to everything. All your stuff can be applied to everything. Being prepared for life, being prepared for events in life. And then it also gets to how about the idea of emotional skill sets as well as physical skill sets, or being prepared emotionally as well as being prepared physically? How can we prepare ourselves emotionally from disaster?
The way that you prepare emotionally is as you learn different things, it gives you peace of mind. So you're not going to be nervous and scared. Prepping is also really about peace of mind.
Yeah,
so
if you
put yourself in a situation and you say, okay, well, if this happens, how ready am I? And then you get yourself to where you're squared away so that doesn't become a concern. And that's a big part of it.
That gives you peace of mind. Hey, Edward, we got to take a commercial break. Hang on to that thought. Got to take a commercial break. I'm Pharmacist Ben talking to Edward Carswell, PrepperNurse1.com. We'll be back on the bright side with more of Mr. Carswell right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side talking to Edward Carswell. His website is PrepperNurse1.com. He's got an awesome YouTube channel with YouTubes that go back 10 years or so. I saw one from 2011, Edward. That seems like, does that seem like we were so naive back in 2011?
Absolutely. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay attention to a lot of things. And so, when things happen, they get caught, I like to say, with their pants down, I guess.
Yeah.
One scenario I like to always tell people when people ask me about prepping and, like, living off-grid, because I live off-grid, they always ask me, why? And I said, okay, well, I always like to use this scenario with people. I say, if the lights went out tomorrow and we're not going to come back on, how prepared are you for that? And they go, and they always ask me, right, and most people do not have a 2-week supply of food and water. Maybe they may have a couple of candles, maybe a flashlight if they're lucky. They're not ready at all. And so my biggest thing, what I always try to do is make people think. And if I can make you think, and then you can process it yourself, and you can come up with a game plan to help yourself. And that's the biggest key, is don't be a victim. Always make sure that you're doing something to help yourself, giving yourself a better chance. And we're always looking for an edge. And when it comes to prepping, what people don't understand, and this is according to FEMA, 95% of the people in the United States are not prepared for a 2-week disaster, which absolutely, to be honest, blows me away, because every year we have disasters in this country. Depending on what part of the country you're in, we're always dealing with something. And that people are not ready for that is just, it's amazing to me.
So let's dive right into it here. Someone's listening to you speak and they say, you know what, Edward's right. I really want to start the ball rolling on my preparedness, What is like the first thing people should do? And then what are a couple other things, kind of simple things where people should start? What's the number one thing to do?
Number one thing to do is food and water. Water has to be the priority, because without fresh water, days. So having a way to purify water and having water on hand, you can even store water, that's okay as well. And then after water comes food. Having at least a minimum of the 2 weeks supply of food. Now, what I would encourage people is once they get to that 2 weeks worth of food and water, then you just continue to build from there on them. Always continuing to add to your stocks as far as that goes. Rotating food is really important. Buying things that you like, I think, is really important as well.
How much? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
How much you have to spend?
You know what? It really depends on what you want to do. So, I'll give you an example. If you wanted to go with freeze-dried food, okay, you get freeze-dried food, and there's a lot of different companies out there that offer freeze-dried foods. Some are better than others. But the point with that is you're going to spend a little bit more money, but that has a 25-year shelf life. So you can take it, you can get it, you can put it away, and then the only thing you've got to worry about when the time comes is adding the hot water, and there you have your meal. So that's one aspect of it. So you're going to spend more money, but it's something that you can get, forget about, put it aside, and not have to worry about it again. Other than that, your beans, your rice, your canned goods, other dry goods, having, honey, local honey. I've always encouraged people to get local honey.
Nice.
Because it has all the oxidants and everything locally that's going to help with allergies and all that.
Last forever.
I think that's, last forever. And they're a great thing to have. And so.
And it adds a little sweetness to your stressful life, probably, too.
Well, and that's another thing important, too. When I got into this, my priority, what I was thinking was, with my children, was to keep things as normal as possible. Now, obviously, if we have a major SHTF event, it's not going to be normal by any stretch of the imagination. Still able to take a hot shower. They're still be able to, maybe charge up on their laptops or those type of things. Yeah. Some semblance of normalcy is important, and for everybody psychologically. And so, the next thing I would encourage people, make sure you have plenty of seeds, because we're going to go from what we are now into a gardening people. Get books on wild edibles. Get books on medicinal plants. Really, really important to have, okay? Those are huge, because tell people this too. The more you know, the more you make yourself valuable, an asset to any group that you're going to possibly end up with. It's a really good thing.
Develop a skill set.
Yeah, having a skill set. And think about this. I mean, something as simple as this that people don't think about. A shoemaker, somebody that knows how to make shoes.
Wow.
People don't even think about that. But if you have somebody that can repair shoes, that can make shoes, that's somebody that's going to be very valuable, because we wear our shoes out pretty quickly in this country. They're not made to last. So
in this new world, the shoemakers will be at the top of the pyramid, and the bankers will be irrelevant.
Well, there will be a lot of things that would be irrelevant at that point, yes. But it's getting together with a group of decent people. That's really, really important, because here's what people don't understand. In a post-event, you're going to, if you want to survive, and I'm going to say worst case scenario, if you want to, you have to be part of a group. Why would you not try to forge those relationships ahead of time? That makes so much more sense to do it that way.
That's right. How did you form a group? Did you just accidentally run into people, or you gathered people? How did that work?
To be honest with you, through my website, and through my YouTube channel, I've met a tremendous amount of wonderful people. Here's the thing. When I got going with prepping, people were like, "Why are you doing that? That's crazy. It doesn't make any sense." But when you reach out to the internet, there's a lot of like-minded people. And here's the best part about it. When you connect with those like-minded people, it is amazing how much you have in common with them. I mean, your total value system, it's amazing how it all kind of aligns. And we did a get-together last year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it this year because of the coronavirus, but we did a get-together last year in New York. I mean, I had people showed up from Ohio, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. I mean, just all over the place. And here's the best part about it, okay? So all these strangers came together for this get-together that we had. It was a prepper get-together. And it was like a big family. And it was amazing. And nobody knew the only person that they knew in common was me, because it was, my channel, and I was putting this together. But people sat around in little groups, and everybody was talking. They were networking, and
was it a peaceful society? Was it like
Absolutely.
a peaceful? Yeah.
Oh, it was, and so, you see these different gatherings that people have. Well, we had our get together. At the end of the day, we all picked everything up. We left that pavilion cleaner than when we left
That's
it.
Awesome.
When we got there, and it was but that's the mindset, and that's what people.
Do you think
like-minded people? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I apologize. You keep cutting out there, so I'm stepping over you, and I apologize for that. Do you think that's what's possible when you have the same values? That's what's possible in a culture when people all value the same thing? Is that an example of that?
I think that you have your chances of survival greatly increase if you have people willing to work together. You're always going to have somebody that wants to be the boss. Always going to have that. You're always going to have people that are know-it-alls. Again, if you can work together, if you can come together and realize that it is in your own common interest for survival to work together, I think you can really have a good society of people. And again, it's like making sure that certain elements of people are not in that group. I mean, you look at a very dangerous group in a post-event are going to be your hardcore drug addicts, because they're not going to stop craving what they take, even though it's not there. So, they're going to be very unstable, very dangerous. So you need to be prepared to protect your group, to protect the people that you're with. And again, like I said, when people band together, they're going to do it to survive. And so, I think that's a hugely important thing. But again, if you have a plan in place, and this is something that I want people to think about too, not only does it give you peace of mind, it puts you like, okay, so if something happens tomorrow, how ready am I? You think about that, you evaluate your situation, and then you make a plan and sit down. And I always tell a list of really, really important things. Sit down and make a list. What do I want to accomplish? What first, what second? And then you start working on that list. And you get those things in place, and I think medical supplies are a hugely important thing to have.
Edward, we're out of time, buddy, but I want everybody to check out your YouTube channel, PrepperNurse1.com, PrepperNurse1.com. Lots of great information. This Prepper, he also has a website, PrepperNurse1.com is the website, and the YouTube channel, PrepperNurse1. Thank you so much, Edward. I really appreciate it, and good luck to you. In your survival adventure. That's Edward Carswell. Really good stuff. PrepperNurse1.com is the website. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.